nefesh Hav harachamah Shochadav Eretz omnach Yarutz avdav Yishtachaveh El mol adarav Yerav lo yedidutach Bino vetzuf vechol toav It's on page 10 if you'd like. Av harachamah Mishochadav Eretz omnach Yarutz avdav Yishtachaveh El mol adarach Yerav lo yedidutach Bino vetzuf vechol toav
Shabbat Shalom. What a beautiful way to bring in the spirit of Shabbat. So we have an incredible artist with us today, who's a rabbi. Rabbi Menachem Creditor, who's with the UJA. And I want to thank Alan Fine and his family for bringing you to our community. I shared with Rabbi Creditor before we started that after October 7th, just as you needed a rabbi, so did I. And I actually started following Menachem Creditor on Instagram, where he was sharing poetry and words of wisdom. And I had known him only through his music, and then he got to fill my soul in two different ways. So thank you for this gift, and thank you for your gift and sharing with us this evening. So we are excited. We have a lot to celebrate. 3 B'nai Mitzvahs, absolutely incredible, and Ufruf, so exciting. And we're excited to get to listen to this beautiful music. So we're going to continue on page 13 with Psalm 95.
Shiru l'Adonai, shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai, kol haaretz, shiru l'Adonai, baruch hu
We're going to invite up our 3 B'nai Mitzvah, Ella, Eleanor, and Rex. Come on up, also known as Ellie. Come on up and please, your parents, Amy and Stephen Schneider, Francis and Eric Amar, and Jamie and Dylan Roy, and your siblings, Devin, Trey, come on up. Please join us over by our candles. And invite them to help us bring in the light and the warmth of Shabbat. We are on page 2 for the candle blessing.
Eloheinu melech haolam asher kirshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinhilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit ki hu yom tehila lemikra kodesh zeher letziat mitzrayim kivanu baharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim ve'shabbat kodsheha ve'ahava uratzon hinhaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen.
L'chaim. Lots of wonderful life
All
here on
right,
Bima
thank
tonight.
you so much to Rex, Ellie, and Ella. We're going to invite you to sit up here. And invite the families to go back to their seats. So before we continue in our service with Lecha Dodi, where we welcome our Sabbath bride, I would like to welcome another bride, Donna Brenner and Stephen Beiner. Please come on up. Woo! So I will have much more to say to you guys on Sunday. but I will share just with our community so you guys know that it took a mutual best friend, Brittany, David Young, dating apps, and coming to Shabbat at Temple Beth Am for these two to find each other, which they did again and again and again. Today we celebrate their journey and their upcoming marriage. So I have known Stephen since he was 15, and he told me then that I was going to be the rabbi at his wedding one day. And so I am honored to get to fulfill that dream on Sunday. And thank goodness you are marrying someone who I admire so much and think the world of. You are both such a big part of our Beth Am family. Stephen, of course, grew up here. Donna teaches here and is active in our congregation. So who would have thought that a guy with a needle phobia would find his life partner in a girl with diabetes? Yet, here we are. You have so much love in general, but especially so much love for each other. You have so much fun together. You love one another's families, and it's been so great to meet your family, Donna. You support each other and make each other better versions of yourselves. You both told me that with the other person, you feel like you can be your full self. You feel loved and seen and supported. And that's what it really means to find your besheret. It's somebody who sees the full you and says yes. Someone who sees the full you and makes you even more yourself instead of feel like you have to lose parts of yourself in order to be loved. So I'm so excited to celebrate your love, and that, as you both said, as long as you have each other, you know everything will be okay. So I'm going to invite, I always make you guys get an arm workout, Rabbis Aklepi and Barris to help us make a little chuppah.
Let me get Steve inside, though.
I was saying I'd like to say I've known Stephen since he was little, but he was already a giant at 15, so.
That's a good idea. Oh, wait, we have Joe.
Oh, Joe's like, wait, I got this. I was born for this. Okay. Kol sason v'kol simcha, a voice of joy, a voice of gladness. We rejoice on this Shabbat with you as you prepare to enter the chuppah. May you know much joy and gladness throughout all of your years together, and the spirit and joy even in times of sorrow and hardship. We pray that this new home that you are creating together will be filled with delight and laughter, unending devotion for one another. May you build a Jewish home based on ma'asim tovim, acts of goodness. May you be blessed with happiness, love, and peace. And can we all say amen? All right, can we say Mazel Tov? Mazel Tov. Here we go. Woo! Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov. So now we're going to welcome another bride, the bride for us, our besheret, the Sabbath bride, with Lecha Dodi on pages 20 and 21.
Lecha Dodi, לקראת כלה פני שבת שקבלה לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה עם מקור הברכה מראש מקדם לסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה לך תודי לקראת כלה פני שבת שקבלה בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה ובצולה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי חלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת יבלה
Please remain standing for the call to worship, page 28.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
We stay standing and we turn to page 30.
6 lines from the bottom, friends. There's a song, a melody, an intention, an emotion. Umavir yom umevi laila. When it becomes nighttime, it's a little bit harder to see that the world could be. That's why all of us, at least me, still jump from my doorway to the bed when I turn off the lights, just in case. That's an ancient fear, isn't it? And we're all kids, we just pretend we're not afraid anymore. So this is a statement of faith in the face of what is human, which is, I believe that the sun will rise tomorrow. I believe that there is a tomorrow. Umavir yom. So if you'd like to sing, sing. If you'd like to feel, and I hope you do, feel. Umavir yom, umevi laila, umavdil ben yom, uvein laila, umavir yom, umevi laila, Adonai tzivaot shemo. Umavir yom, umevi laila, umavdil ben yom, uvein laila, umavir yom, umevi laila, Adonai tzivaot shemo. El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai, Hamari Varavi. And on the next page, page 32, a few lines from the bottom again, Kihem Chayenu. Chayenu ve'orech yameinu u'mahem neged yomam v'alayla אל תסיר ממנו לעולמי. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל. Leave the words behind, sing with me.
We continue with the Shema, pages 34 and 35.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam va'ed.
You may be seated as our B'nai Mitzvah lead us in the chanting of the Be'ahafta, page 36.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzaveha hayom alevaveha ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיהם. אני אדוני אלוהיהם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות להם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיהם. אדוני אלוהיהם אמת.
Good job, everybody. You can go back and sit down. Thank you, Ellie, Ella, and Rex. Did you see the smiles on your family's faces? It's awesome. I'm so lucky I get to see that part. We're all looking forward to your bat mitzvah, and bar mitzvah tomorrow. We have a reading that comes before in our Siddur on page 39, before Mi Chamocha. And it talks about that we are living, which is an idea, eternally in Egypt. And I think that sometimes in this last year and a half, we felt like still in Egypt, somehow enslaved to ideas, to the hatred, to being stuck in the same place. But tonight, I think with Rabbi Creditor and the celebrations of a wedding and bat mitzvah, and bar mitzvah, we do feel like we are joining hands and marching together. And that's the feeling we want right now as we turn to page 100, we turn to page 40 for Mi Chamocha.
יעקב וגלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields nor mend a broken bridge, but prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, rebuild a weakened will. We continue with the Tefillah section of prayer, beginning on page 46. If you're comfortable to do so, please rise. Page 44, Vishamru.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor HaNorah El Elyon גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מקיים מתים אתה, רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מקלקל חיים בחסד, מקיים מתים ברחמים רבים, סומק נופלים ורופק עולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומרום מלך מלך ממית ומקיים ומצמיח ישועה ורמנת לקיות מתים Baruch atah Adonai Mikayeh hametim Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh Kadoshim b'kol yom yalelu kasela Baruch atah Adonai האל הקדוש.
We continue silently through page 60 or with the words and thoughts of your own hearts.
שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו
על כל יושבי תבל ואמרו
I know you all think that it's really unusual that we have a rabbi that also, you can do that, sings and speaks. I know we have Rabbi Barris who does that, but there are others as well.
Very good introduction. We're very grateful to Alan and Vicki Fine for helping us bring Rabbi Menachem Creditor to Temple Beth Am on this Shabbat, and for the wonderful dedication you've shown to bringing great Jewish music to Temple Beth Am. So thank you from all of us. We truly appreciate it. For years, Rabbi Aklepi, Rabbi Greengrass, and I have been looking to the works of Rabbi Creditor to lift us in difficult moments, to soothe our souls, and to bring us closer to the divine. We've all seen him speak and perform at a variety of conferences over the years, and it's a really great honor on this Shabbat to welcome him to our bima here at Temple Beth Am. Rabbi Creditor serves as the Pearl and Ira Meyer Scholar in Residence at the UJA Federation, New York, and was the founder of Rabbis Against Gun Violence. He's an acclaimed author like myself, a scholar and speaker with over 5 million views of his online videos and essays, and he was named by Newsweek as one of the 50 most influential rabbis in America. A footnote there that I've pointed out to my students many times is that I do hold the record for the longest running rabbi, came in 51st, almost 12 years in a row now. I keep coming in 51st. I'll get there. I'm just one away. Rabbi Creditor's numerous books and 6 albums of original music include the global anthem Olam Chesed Yibaneh, which we've sung from this bima many, many, many times, and the COVID-era anthology, When We Turned Within. We've had the honor before of having his wife, Neshama Karlbach, lead services from our bima. She's a close friend of Cantor Rochelle Nelson, and the two of them have shared this bima several times in the past. But tonight, we are truly honored to welcome her husband, Rabbi Menachem Creditor, from New York, where together they're raising their 5 children. And we'd like to invite Rabbi Creditor now to share some words of Torah with us.
For the record, when that very strange ranking of rabbis, as if such a thing makes any sense to anyone, happened, the first time I was ever introduced with that as part of my bio, my kids were sitting right over there and said, "He's 49." So 51, 49, we're just about the same place. I'm not sure if every time you bring in someone for an artist in residence, it is this parsha, this Torah portion, but it couldn't fit better. Usually we read this Torah portion, Titzaveh, with the one that we read last week, Truma, and they introduce an artist unlike any the Jewish world has ever seen. His name was Betzalel. And we understand his name as a combination of 2 words, Betzel-El, in the shadow of God. So often, when people are inspired, and what pours out is music or dance or words or tears or all of them, it is the shadow of the divine. So often when we create, we find ourselves so enraptured that we're not quite sure where the thing came from. That note, that pause, that gesture. And in moments like this, and by moments I mean the last 500 plus days of Jewish experience, what a gift it is to make space for inspiration. And so I'm grateful, especially because I don't often see myself in this way, though it's some of what I do, that we're singing and making an intentional space for song. Not only the words, but even just the nigun, the melody that captures or tries to the spirit. A good nigun, a good wordless melody in Hasidic tradition, I've always felt is a melody you knew before anyone taught it to you. It comes straight from the divine. Even if you don't use the word God, it means it just happened, and none of us can really take credit for it. What a gift it is to have such a tradition, that we know that prayer has to include stuff that is beyond our capacity to create, even if we might be the vessel for a moment doing the creating. And that also points to why these two Torah portions are so very necessary. And if you're a student of Torah, if you really know these Torah portions, you probably wouldn't have said such a thing. Because Truma and Tetzaveh, these two Torah portions, for someone like me, are really hard to get through. But remember back in the day when you would get a stereo and it would come with instructions? I mean, such a thing doesn't happen anymore. It's all integrated, and if it breaks, it's done. But back in the day, there were components that someone thought it would be a good idea to tell us, lay leaders, lay people, how to put wires into things. Red and green and black, and put this one on top and 5 feet apart. Real sound engineers still have to do that work, but most of us have no idea what we're doing. These Torah portions have to do with gold and bronze and copper and lapis lazuli and crimson threads and dolphin skins somehow. The list takes up the last third of the book of Exodus, and someone like me reads it and gets so glazy-eyed, I can't see it. But if you look beyond the descriptions into what they're pointing to, there is a really helpful lesson for us these days. I could point to the beautiful construction that we are in, itself a mikdash, a holy place for gathering, so that we can be close to the divine and each other. But it could be any material. It happens to be very nice stuff, but it could be any material that would line the walls. In fact, you don't need a wall to meet God. In fact, sometimes walls get in the way. So why did a newly freed people, because we had not been freed from enslavement in Egypt for all that long, when we were told to bring whatever we had, which, by the way, you ever stop to think about how did we have all that stuff? Right? The Torah is not concerned with that how, even though there are a few answers. It's more concerned about what you do with what you've got, however you got it. So how strange it is that we're called to give away the little bit that we've got. Could you do that? When you feel the pain of scarcity and the uncertainty of tomorrow, as we do, would you give your security into the hands of someone else? That is a very big ask, isn't it? But they do, so much so, and with nedivut lev, with a kind of generosity that defies any expectation, even with a fabulous kind of giving that we do as a people. It is mind-boggling to see what they offer, and equally, or maybe even more mind-boggling, to see what is done with what they give. Because whatever I have to give, Bezalel, the artist, knew what to do with it, and to weave it, and to carve from it, and from gold to hammer out even images of angels, to make a space not to contain the divine, because nothing could exist that could contain the divine. Anyone a fan of Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark? That was fun, but not the point. The ark doesn't contain God. In fact, the text says, where did God's voice emanate from? Not from the angels and not from the walls, not even from the Holy of Holies in its construction. It's from the space between the angels. So just for a second, let me invite you to look at the person, really look at the person next to you. You don't have to stare. You don't have to look into each other's eyes if that's too much. But even if you don't use the word God regularly, when you really look at each other, the space between the two of you, or the four of you, or you and someone you haven't yet met, That space is charged with divine potential. And sometimes it takes art to remind us of that. The absence of filling the space is the point. In fact, Leonard Bernstein said that music is really in the rests, the space between. Artists are the ones who don't fill up the space, but offer it. And if we don't clutter it up, and by that I invite us to let Shabbos in a little bit, let the week out as much as you can. Make space for something that is better. I'm doing it with my hand because I need to do it too, just enough of this week. Really. So however it is that you make space within you, metaphysically, physically, singing kind of works for me. Make some space so that we can create again. Don't fill it up, even though that's what we do when we feel uncomfortable. You ever visit a Shiva house? The tradition is not to talk. We don't really listen to that rule very well. But the goal is to make space for someone who has something to say, the person who is in mourning, to speak when they feel like it, and our presence is the point. So I would invite you, on this very special Shabbat, until next week, which will be a very special Shabbat again, which is part of the blessing, to make space for something better, to hum a tune, or find some quiet, paint, move your body. Most of all, look at somebody else and let them look at you. And imagine that between the two of you, more good could be. We need more of that in the world. We really do. And the good news is, we all have the capacity to do that. I'll give you one last nugget from this week's Parsha, this week's Torah portion, just for now. And then some of us, if we're lucky enough, will learn together again tomorrow. And then the day after, and then the day after. I won't be in Miami, but we can keep going. There is a glaring absence in this week's Torah portion, Titzaveh. I usually offer rabbi points to anyone who knows this kind of trivia. Right? So anybody know? Rabbi points. What is the glaring absence in this week's Torah portion? Clergy doesn't count, by the way. I'm not looking behind me. Thank you. What's your name? Jeff. Jeff gets all the rabbi points. The glaring absence in this week's Torah portion is Moses' name. It's the only Torah portion after he is born where he is not named. And we don't know why, but the rabbis have feelings. We always have feelings. So this is one of their feelings. After the sin of the golden calf, this is in the text itself, God says to Moses, get out of my way. I'm going to destroy them and start again with you. This is hopeless. And Moses says, no, to God. No, you may not. And if you do this, says the text, Mecheni na misifracha, erase me from your book. I don't want to be a part of that. So what does God say in response? This is now the rabbinic imagination. Fine. I'll follow your lead. You wanted to be erased from this book? This next Torah portion, you're out of it. But there's a gift there too, friends. To stand in service of the world is sometimes not to fill it up with your name or your presence. It's to make sure that it goes on. And we give everything we can for that sake. So I said it gently before, let me say it really directly now. Right? Artists are the ones who make space. That's the poetic way of saying it. Let's make sure that we follow what we are called to do, which is to be agents for a world that has space for other people. People who disagree, people who are different, people who are vulnerable. We learned that lesson 210 years in a row in Egypt. And we were still capable of great art. We can do it today too. Shabbat Shalom.
There are many in our congregation who are not well and in need of God's healing presence. We're going to say our Misha Berach prayer a little bit differently tonight. I invite you to turn to page 253 in our prayer books for our prayer for healing.
You'll know this melody because we sing it a lot these days. The melody was originally composed for the words Achenu, Kol Beit Yisrael, our sisters and brothers of the house of Israel. The words we'll use now are the Misha Berach, the blessing for healing, combining all of that into one. And so I'll begin, and then I'll hum. And while I hum, as is customary in many communities, I imagine in this one too, there is space for our names, for the names of our loved ones. So we'll begin this Misha Berach with a melody. Misha Berach Avoteinu Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel Leah Hu Yevarech V'yirapeh et hacholi.
If you have a name of someone that you're thinking of that you'd like to include in our prayers, please feel free now to say their name aloud as we all say our names together.
וישלח להם מהירה רפואה שלמה מן השמיים, רפואת הנפש ורפואת הגוף בתוך שער חולי ישראל. השתה בגלה ובזמן קריב.
Continuing our prayer books on page 282, please rise for Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר וחיי אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. Thoughts turn now to those who have departed this earth. our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. We are sending condolences tonight to the family of Charles Fensterscheib, and we are saying Kaddish tonight for Lillian Adler Gross. We are in the period of Shloshim, the 30-day period of mourning, for Sandra Shepard West, Evelyn Miller, Delia Murta Gutman, Shifra Sarat Kosman, and Ray Berman. We are in the first year of mourning for William S. Aikenbaum, Ella Riley Adler, Jerry Benjis, Saul Victoria Amar de Benamu, Constance Miller Bennett, George Bernstein, Sheldon Bernstein, Robert Bob Blumenthal, Sonia Bachner, Barbara Bromfman, Daniel Vander Rice Cohen, Nancy Goldman Deutsch, Helene Schoenbrunn Dubbin, David Frankel, Moses Hirschman, Dr. Ira Carmen, Gerald D. Jerry Kelfer, Sue Clow, Merle Kravitz, Joyce Hessler Mackler Fisher, Rhoda Leinoff, David Ellis Malin, Edward Polwer, Lenore Raven, Shirley Rosen, Maura Sharon, Samuel Shore, David Spencer, Fran Storper, Berta Topol, Burton Young, Enrique J. Zadoff. We mark on the occasion of their yortzites on this Shabbat, Anita Bookbinder, Bernard Delavene, Rosette Dweck, David Eller, Nancy Adels Fine, Dr. Sylvester Frank, Leonore Gabay, Abraham Marin, Dr. Louis Kawin, Gloria Marks, Arthur Meyer, Benjamin Leinoff, Norman Morgan, David Prizer, Beatrice Rabinowitz, Morris Rabinowitz, Claire Siegel, Muriel Solomon, Milton Unger, Michael Wasserman. Are there any other names to be included on our yahrzeit list? The memories of all of them are with us as we praise God and pray for the coming of God's kingdom as we turn together to the Mourner's Kaddish on page 294. Please rise. Yitgadal v'yikadash shmei Rabbah v'yalma divrach chirotei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayachon v'yamechon v'chayid d'chol Beit Yisrael b'galav v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach li'alam olmei almaya Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shmeid kudsha brichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata da'amiran be'oma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav hu ya'aseh shalom Aleinu ve'al Kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel. And let us say, amen. Please be seated. You know, when I started learning Hebrew, it was an obsession, and it came to me very, very quickly. And I really loved it. And it's one of my greatest hobbies, is continuing to learn Hebrew. When I was growing up, in high school, I took French, and my freshman year of high school, I was getting a D, and my teacher made me a deal that if you promise to go into Spanish, I'll give you a B. And I said, you got a deal? I said, for an A, I'll take Greek. I mean, whatever. So I took Spanish, and I didn't do that well. I mean, Spanish 1, Spanish 2, but Spanish 3, not well. But I was growing up in northeastern Pennsylvania, and I remember saying to my mom, when she looked at me when I brought my grade home, I said to her, "Who cares? When am I ever going to need Spanish?" Who knew? Now no one can fix anything in my house. We have no idea what to do. Well, obviously, Spanish is a huge part of our culture here, and we used to have, even before I was here, services called Shabbat en Español. And backed by popular demand, we are returning to our Shabbat en Español services. And we just happen to have here in Miami a very, very close friend of mine. We've been friends almost 25 years, Rabbi Claudio Kogan, who works for the Baptist Health System as a medical ethicist. He's also a doctor. But I'd like to invite, before we invite our president, Rich Siegel, my friend Rabbi Claudio Kogan, to just say a few words about our new Shabbat en Español services. Rabbi Kogan. Quite an ovation. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi Baras. Thank you, Rabbi Creditor, Rabbi Klepi, Rabbi Gringas, Cantor Flexman, and your name is Cantor? Jessica Bach. For this wonderful Shabbat. And this is Shabbat Zachor, Shabbat to remember, el Shabbat de recuerdo para los que hablan español. And it happens that in Spanish, Rabbi Baras and Rabbi Creditor, the number 50 is 50. But 50 you can write in Spanish with the S, 50, or with the C, 50, which means 50 with C is 50. 50 with S means without counts. So both of you could be beside the 50, rabbis, that we have. It's to remember March 21st, Marzo 21, we will have a Shabbat service in español. Here, thank you, Rabbi Baras and your team. Vamos a tener un Shabbat en español. 7:30, we'll start springtime, la primavera, for those who wants to have a service 7:30. 7:30 de la tarde, los esperamos acá en el chapel, for those who wants to have a service en español. Shabbat en español, marzo 21, todos invitados. Muchas gracias.
And since I don't speak Spanish, I didn't understand a word that he said in any language. But we'd like to invite now our president of our congregation, Rich Siegel, for some words of greeting and some announcements.
Buenas noches. Me llamo Ricardo y el presidente de Temple Beth Am. That's it. That's all I got. That's all I got. So first, I'd like to thank Rabbi Barris, Rabbi Greengrass, Rabbi Klepi, Cantor Flaxman, Jessica Bass, not listed in the program again. We're going to have to do something about that. Not fair. Oh, okay. And of course, our musical queen, Liera, Billy, take it or leave it. And Michael and David, thank you again for the music. A very, very special thank you to our artist in residence, Rabbi Menachem Creditor, not only for the beautiful music that he brought to our sanctuary tonight, but for also being a leading voice in our community to end the epidemic of gun violence in our country. We are blessed to have you with us this evening, which would not have been possible without the generous support of the Fine family. So thank you. So tonight is tonight's actually a quadruple mitzvah, which is I think I've been doing this almost 2 years. I don't think I've had a quadruple mitzvah. So mazel tov to the Schneider family. That's you guys on Ella's bat mitzvah. Mazel tov to the Amar family on Eleanor's bat mitzvah. And mazel tov to the Roy family over there on Rex's bar mitzvah. These are three very eclectic kids with varying interests, although they do have a couple things in common. One, they're all summer camp kids, which means they're very intelligent because they realize when you live in Miami, the best thing to do in the summer is to get the heck out of Miami. And also, coincidentally, two of them, Eleanor and Rex, both for their mitzvah projects, volunteered at Paws for You, a no-kill animal shelter in Kendall. Ella, who I guess doesn't really like animals, no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. She volunteered with the Friendship Circle for her Bat Mitzvah project, which is a charity that works with kids with special needs. That is a very near and dear nonprofit to Temple Beth Am. And then Mazel Tov to Dana and Stephen. Are they still here? Oh, they're right there. I think I saw your folks leave. Okay, because she knew I was going to say something about her. She's seen this enough. So Mazel Tov to you all on your wedding this weekend. Dana was a teacher in our religious school. Stephen is a Beth Am lifer. Jackie and I have been friends with your parents for a very long time. And Daniela, of course, is a former president of Temple Beth Am. One of the few people you have to thank or chastise for me having this role is Daniela. She asked me, she was the first person to ask me to be the member of her management team probably 12 or 15 years ago, and that was when I was far less interesting and captivating than the person you see today. So as I've done once in the past when another former president's child got married, I went and I stalked your wedding registry. So for Billy Grossman's son, I went and I actually purchased the cheapest remaining item on their wedding registry. Anyone that was here might remember that. So I actually like Danielle a lot more than Billy. So when I went to your wedding registry, I too sorted it by price. But for you, I went to the very most expensive item to get for you. And it was this Dyson vacuum that you guys put on your registry. It's like $11,000. I don't know what it does. So I'm very, very, very happy and pleased to inform you that someone else had already purchased it. So I got you nothing, but Mazel Tov anyway. Tomorrow here at Temple Beth Am, Rabbi Barris will be leading Torah study at 9 a.m. Rabbi Greengrass is doing a sensory Shabbat in the hub at 9 a.m. There's a Tot Shabbat at 9:30 a.m. in the Rambam courtyard. And there's a very special morning minyan tomorrow with Rabbi Barris and our special guest, Rabbi Cantor, in the hub at 10:30. In terms of coming attractions, this Tuesday at noon in the hub, Sisterhood and our Unbiased Committee are sponsoring a lunch and learn with Rabbi Barris and Holly Huffnagel, who's the AJC's Director of Combating Anti-Semitism. She's supposed to be a wonderful and informative person. And this Thursday, of course, is our Purim Palooza. Lots going on campus. Please come out. We have programming for children of all ages. And lastly, I wanted to give one personal shout out tonight. There's very few constants. I've been doing this for almost 2 years now. I'm always thanking the clergy. I'm always thanking the musicians. And then from there, sometimes we have 0 b'nai mitzvahs, sometimes we have 3, ufrafs, namings, but it's never predictable. The only other thing that's predictable every week is from the time I step off this bima until I get in my car, I get a text message thanking me for making such a wonderful speech that night. And it always comes from Jackie's mom, my mother-in-law, Fifi Passer. And the most remarkable part of it is I don't think she's ever figured out how to use the live streams. So I don't think she's actually ever heard me say anything. But every Friday night at 7:30, she knows to send Rich a text that said he did a great job. So tomorrow, why am I bringing this up? Tomorrow, Jackie and I are flying out to California. It is her mom, Fifi Pastor's 91st birthday this week, which we will be celebrating with her. So a special mazel tov to her on her 91st birthday. And on this Shabbat, let us all be thankful for the many special people in our lives that give us love and fill us with meaning and purpose. Shabbat shalom.
There is a tremendous amount of stuff going on this week. We do have Holly Huffnagel from the AJC, who will be talking about anti-Semitism on Tuesday at our Lunch and Learn. But if you come to that for lunch and you feel like you didn't get enough information on anti-Semitism, well, Jonathan Greenblatt, the CEO of the ADL, will be here the same night at the Hub, and I'll be interviewing him at the Hub. So, when we scheduled both of these events about anti-Semitism on the same day, I said, listen, I don't know if we're going to need these because we scheduled them a long time ago, and maybe there won't be anti-Semitism anymore. Maybe it'll be eradicated. It turns out, go figure, still exists. So check those out. Also, April 1st, Aiden Golan, huge event in the hub. Get your tickets. They're going fast, and there aren't many left. I hope you'll join us if you have any interest in that. We're going to conclude our service now with, I think, one of the most beautiful songs that there is, Rabbi Creditor's own, Olam Chesed Yibaneh. So, if you feel like it and you're in the mood, you can rise, put your arm around whoever's standing next to you, and join together in our closing song.
So just a word as we close our services. The song is almost 23 years old. I know that because my daughter is almost 23 years old. I wrote it for her naming ceremony. And these three words, Olam Chesed Yibaneh, mean a million things, including I couldn't possibly have earned tomorrow morning. But please God, I'm going to receive it. What do I do with that blessing? The world will only be built when we channel all of the gratitude for all of the life we are so unbelievably blessed to share, when we channel it on behalf of others. So as we sing, I invite you to envision a world that you're going to put into being. Da da na 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 na. Ya na 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 na. Olam Chesed Yibaneh. Ya na 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 na. Olam Chesed Yibaneh. Ya na 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 na. Olam Chesed Yibaneh. Ya na na. Ya na 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 na. I will build this world. I will build this world from love. Ya na 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 na. You must build this world. You must build this world from love. Ya na 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 na. And if we build this world from love, ya na 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 na, then God will build this world from love. Ya na 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 na. Let's sing it again. Give it even more. Come on, Olam Chesed. Olam Chesed Yibaneh. Ya na 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 na. Olam Chesed. Olam Chesed Yibaneh.
invite you to wish each other Shabbat Shalom.